Just 7 hours from the month of March, and it's time for postseason college basketball as the 2-seed Carroll Pioneers take on the 4-seed Wheaton Thunder in the first of 2 semifinals from the Shirk Center. I'm Matt Sossler alongside Caden Sexton. Alex Bardenitis joins us in just a few minutes. Caden, it's do or die for both squads.
You know, you said it best right there, do or die. It's playoff time. You get one game and your season might be over. There's a chance of getting a bid into the tournament, but you can't rely on that. You have to rely on winning today, winning tomorrow for your guaranteed spot to play more.
For the defending champion Pioneers back at the Shirk Center after they cut the nets down in Bloomington a year ago. They are in a bit of a tough spot, had a bit of a rough non-conference slate, and also had some unscheduled losses in regular season play in the CCIW. That puts them on the bubble on the inside right now. However, a loss to the Thunder, who are lower than them in the MPI, would all for certain knock the Pioneers out of contention for the NCAA tournament and therefore end their season.
I mean, it's a win or die situation, and when they've had the season they've had, you can't rely on being gifted a spot. You have to earn it. And tonight's your opportunity to earn it or let it slip. Last year, won the first conference title in the CCIW. They need to kind of have the mentality of at least playing tomorrow to try and make the best case for a bid on Monday.
The Pioneers with a lot of star power. Same with the Wheaton Thunder, with all conference selections being announced just a few days ago. But before we dissect that, we have to take a look at the last time that these squads met. It was a little ways back, and we'll dive deeper into that right after this on IWSports.com.
At NCAA Championships, noise is made here. Memories are made here. Champions win here. The only thing missing here is you. The NCAA Division III Softball Championship, coming to Bloomington, Illinois this May. Get your tickets today at ncaa.com/tickets.
Gator with the right side, the cutter to Harlow for the throwdown. A senior day to remember for Grant Hardy with an
CCIW semis at the Shirk Center. Matt Sossler, Caden Sexton, Alex Bardenitis joins us in just a moment. The Carroll Pioneers taking on the Wheaton Thunder in our first of 2 matchups here tonight. The last game between Carroll and Wheaton all the way back on February the 8th. It wound up being a 71-63 win for the Pioneers, who swept the season series over the Thunder. And with more, here's Alex Bardenitis.
Thank you, Matt. In the previous in-season matchup between Wheaton and Carroll, the Thunder senior Annika Richardson scored 18 points with 6 assists and 3 steals to lead Wheaton against the Pioneers. Richardson shot 70%, including 2 for 4 from the three-point range. Liddy Cato scored 13 points with 5 rebounds and 2 steals. Jenna Hunter added 12 points off of the Thunder bench. Kate Oliver scored 9 points with 6 assists and 2 steals. And Alyssa Faborowski and Grace Kaiser each contributed 8 points. Wheaton shot 55%, including 38.9% from the 3-point range. Back to you, Matt.
Thank you, Alex. It was a fairly even contest back at King Arena, one of the hardest arenas to play in the CCIW. It's a battle between the stars. It's Annika Richardson, Kate Oliver for the Wheaton Thunder, and then on the other side, the CCIW Student Athlete of the Year, Olivia Rangel, and Natalie Grecius for the Carroll Pioneers.
Well, as Alex mentioned, Rangel got 16, but right behind her was Natalie Grecius with 20. The two stars came to play the last time Carroll saw Wheaton. But go over on Wheaton's side. Annika Richardson, 23 points, 12 rebounds, a double-double, nothing to laugh about. And when you're down 71-63, all it takes is one or two more players to step up, help out Annika, and it's a different outcome. And we could see a different outcome tonight if Wheaton plays as a team.
The Titans are in the house, getting a little bit of a scout before they take on Milliken in the back end of this doubleheader. We'll take 30 seconds and then take a peek at some players to watch for the Thunder and the Pioneers on IWSports.com.
I can see it now. The smell of the grass on the quad. That sense of excitement in the air each fall. It feels like yesterday. While I'm no longer 18, I know there are students out there ready for an opportunity like I had. For the space to discover passions, bond over dreams, and make lifelong friends. Breakthrough at Illinois Wesleyan University.
Pre-game before the first of two CCIW semis, Matt Sosler, Caden Sexton. Time for our players to watch. Starting out with the Wheaton Thunder, the 4 seed. You mentioned it before the break, Caden. Annika Richardson, all CCIW selectee for the 3rd straight year. Put up a double-double against the Pioneers and is the motor for this Wheaton offense.
No, I mean, you're correct with saying that she is the motor. She's got 3rd best 3-point shot right now in conference at 36%. She's played the most minutes this season in the CCIW. When you look at her, she's got the 2nd most points a game for her squad. She's somebody that needs to come out and show up for them to have success. If you're able to take her out of the game and the rest of the team isn't able to step up, it's going to result in Wheaton going home tonight without playing another game this season.
And for the 2-seed Pioneers, it's tough to choose when you have the CCIW Student Athlete of the Year and Olivia Rangel, but we go with the other side of the Carroll offense. Downstairs, Natalie Grecius, because Grecius is coming off of a career-high 37 points. Her prior career high was nearly a year ago in this building in the CCIW tournament when she put up 28 against Illinois Wesleyan. She's definitely a player that shows up when the calendar nears March.
Matt, you said it best. They've got one of the most dynamic 1-2 punches in the conference with Rangel and Grecius. But, Grecius, she's averaging 17.9 points a night. Last time she saw him, again, 20 points, 8 rebounds, leading the team in both feats. However, she had 4 fouls the last time these two teams met. She has to stay clean to be able to give her impact in this game.
Foul trouble is a huge factor on both sides in this ball game postseason. Some jitters might take place early. Wheaton's coming off of a quarterfinal win over Elmhurst University, an Elmhurst team that, if you were to dish out a most improved squad in the CCIW from last year to this year, Elmhurst would be in the driver's seat for that, but their season came to a close in the quarterfinals after the Thunder dismantled them 70-57 behind 19 points off of turnovers for the Pioneers. They're coming off of an overtime loss against Elmhurst. Today, Natalie Grecius, 37 points, and Elmhurst blew a 20-point lead. Now downstairs for pregame ceremonies to public address announcer Tony Bankston.
Good afternoon, basketball fans, and welcome to the Shirk Center on the campus of Illinois Wesleyan University for today's first semifinal of the 2025 College Conference of Illinois and Wisconsin Women's Basketball Tournament. Our first contest of the day will feature the Wheaton College Thunder versus the Pioneers of Carroll University. The College Conference of Illinois and Wisconsin and all of its members promote good sporting behavior by student athletes, coaches, and fans. We request your cooperation in supporting the student athletes and officials in a positive manner. Profanity, derogatory comments, or other intimidating actions directed at student athletes, officials, team representatives, or other fans will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal. The CCIW has many traditions, but bad behavior is not one of them. We appreciate your cooperation in creating a safe and positive game environment. Respect is the name of the game. At this time, we would like to recognize the all-conference student athletes who are participating in tonight's contest. First, from Wheaton College, on the second team, Kate Oliver. And on the first team, Annika Richardson. From Carroll University, on the second team, Emily Wisner. On the first team, Natalie Grecius. And also on the first team and the CCIW Most Outstanding Player, Olivia Rangel. Let's give all these outstanding players one more round of applause. And now we ask that you all please rise for the playing of our national anthem. Guard, a 5'4" junior from Lone Tree, Colorado, number 5, Alyssa Faborowski. At guard, a 5'9" senior from Schenectady, New York, number 23, Alexis Martin. At guard, a 5'10" junior from Falls Church, Virginia, number 24, Kate Oliver. At forward, a 5'11" senior from Northville, Minnesota, number 25, Annika Richardson. And at guard, a 5'9" junior from Pekin, number 30, Grace Kaiser. Wheaton College went 15-11 on the regular season, 9-7 in the CCIW. They are coached by Ken Matson. time to meet the starting lineup of the Carroll University Pioneers. At guard, a 5'8" senior from Arcadia, Wisconsin, number 3, Chloe Halverson. At guard, a 5'7" sophomore from Bloomington, Illinois, number 10, Katie Barger. At guard, a 5'9" senior from Franklin, Wisconsin, number 23, Olivia Rangel. At guard, a 5'8" junior from Germantown, Wisconsin, number 32, Emily Wisner. And at forward, a 5'10" junior from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, number 33, Natalie Grecius. The Pioneers were 17-8 on the regular season, 12-4 in the CCIW, and are coached by Lindsay Schultz.
The starting lineups for the first of 2 CCIW semifinals. It's win or go home between the Carroll Pioneers and the Wheaton Thunder. Matt Sossler, Caden Sexton. Caden, for the Pioneers to continue their quest to a repeat after cutting on the nets in Shirk last year, they need to do the following.
Yeah, they really need to come out. They need to start strong. They haven't beaten, or they have gotten 2 wins against Wheaton. They need Wheaton to feel like it's game number 3 and that it's going to see the same outcome.
And for the Thunder to pull off the upset?
They've got to play strong defense. This is one of the best offensive teams in the conference. If they're not playing a strong offense or defensive ball, the offense of the offense of Carroll is going to start lighting things up.
Thunder control the opening tap. Kate Oliver, an all CCIW selectee, one of 2 for the Thunder this year. Kaiser loses it, and Carroll takes over with an early turnover.
Yeah, they were able to pass it in all the correct lanes. It's exactly what you want to do if you're Kent Matson. Just not able to get the right shot they wanted, and a little bit of a missed tap to get that ball out of bounds.
Wheaton turns it over just north of 17 times a game. Definitely a number they have to avoid against a team as lethal as Carroll on the offensive end. Gracious and Rangel work the 2-person game. Shot clock expiring, and Rangel showing why she was the player of the year.
I mean, you said it best. Number 1 in points per game, 18.4. Carroll's already starting this press, but being able to have confidence like that, driving right into the paint and feeling all the confidence in the world is what Olivia Rangel brings to this team and why she was named the player of the year.
Taken away by the Bloomington native, Katie Barger, puts Carroll up 4.
Yeah, I mean, a clean pickpocket there, and I think that's a result of this press that Carroll is once again showing off. The pressure is going to get to Wheaton, and that's something we talked about internally pregame, is they have to be able to stay calm and break it.
Thunder looking for something on the offensive end. Kaiser, long 2. Retained by Richardson. Taken away by Rangel for the moment. Tussle, she comes away. Rangel top 5 in the conference in steals. Too much for Grecius.
Yeah, that's the connection that Carroll needs for success. It's the 1-2 punch, the top 2 scoring players in the conference. That was a great play design, just a little bit too hot, a little bit too high, even for a 5'10" forward like Grecius.
Richardson puts the Thunder on the board.
I mean, we said it earlier on the other end of the floor, but that's just confidence right there. Going in and taking on taking on threats in the paint and being able to score like that is exactly what Wheaton needs to keep doing, because they get a steal right there.
Richardson on the front. So a couple of turnovers by the Pioneers after a strong opening 2 minutes. The New Yorker, Alexis Martin. Inside Oliver. Rush it, hit off of her last on the back tap from Vaborowski.
Yeah, I mean, nobody is really having success passing into the paint so far, but both teams have been continuing to try it. It'll be interesting, Matt, to see how that progresses as this game continues.
Billy Cotto checks in, the California native who could be the reason why Wheaton is here in Bloomington and not sitting at home. She had 20 points against Elmhurst in the quarterfinals.
It takes more than just your top 2 to have success, and that's going to go on both sides in this contest, and it's something that has to happen if they want to move on and play tomorrow.
Wheaton continues a strong presence fronting the post. A lot of the action today has been on the interior in the early 3 minutes. Wisner, too short. The best three-point shooter in the conference from a year ago has taken a step back.
Well, as you just said, a lot of the action's been happening in the post. Wheaton trying to run a man, but they're also put 3 out in the paint on that last play. They rather see the 3 ball early than see driving.
Hit off a white jersey last. Carroll's been scoreless the last 2 minutes after racing out to a 4-0 edge. Baskets have been hard to come by almost midway through the opening 10. Richardson loses it. A freeway. And Barger makes her pay.
I mean, that's the second time that we've just watched Barger walk down the floor and take an easy 2. If that keeps happening, Wheaton needs to figure out a solution to stop that from happening. Long story short.
She leads the Pioneers early with 4. No answer from Faborowski. Foul on the rebound. It's on Wheaton and Cato, her first, team's first.
Number 13, Lily Cato, her first and team's first.
And Caden, you also talk about postseason play. It's a change in the schedule, playing back-to-backs instead of having the 2 days off. For whatever team wins, it certainly does them an advantage to break it open early and provide a deeper roster. Gracious, a little short.
No, you're correct on that. You get to have a quick breather after this game. You get to scout your opponent, but it doesn't change the fact that you're playing tomorrow and you're going to be playing on short rest. And so being able to get a big lead and getting more rest and time on the bench won't hurt you in the slightest, Matt.
Richardson on a double, skip past Kaiser, hooks it.
3-point basket, Cruz.
I mean, Kaiser's somebody who's going to go out there and play almost every minute of this game. She played 33 the last time these two squads met, and just being able to stay out in the arc and be strong, hold on to her corner, and be able to make the 3 once that double eventually comes.
The Illinois College transfer, initially on the bench, has started the last 19 games as Chloe Halverson answers.
See, we're seeing a press, Matt, but it's really, besides Chloe Halverson, there isn't really anybody else on that press who's attacking the basketball, more just trying to show off their presence.
Faborowski's first deuce of the day, and that's usually what we see from the Pioneers on the press. One up, and then they're one of the best half-court teams in the conference, so they like to get back there. Foul on Kaiser before Wisner stepped out of bounds. Her first, team's second, Julia Locher. The Malone transfer heads to the bench to check in. And we reached the media timeout in the first quarter. Carroll with a 1-point advantage in the first semifinal. We'll take a quick 30 seconds. Back with more on IWSports.com.
When competition for the best jobs is fierce, how do you set yourself apart? Experience? An education? Yes, but not just any education. At Illinois Wesleyan, we prepare graduates who break through the noise, who run the boardroom, the classroom, the lab, the stage. The best college for jobs in Illinois is right in your own backyard. Reach further, dream bigger, and break through at Illinois Wesleyan University.
4:51 left in the first 10 in the first semifinal of the CCIW tournament. Matt Osler, Caden Sexton, the 2-seed Carroll clinging on to a 1-point advantage over 4-seed Wheaton. Taking a look at some leading scorers, the Bloomington native Katie Barger leads the way with 2 fast break buckets for the Pioneers. She has 4. Rangel with 2, Halverson with the other pair. For Wheaton, Grace Kaiser, who has the lone 3 on either side today, leads the way early for the Thunder, who, despite the lack of offense, Wheaton shooting 3 of 6, Carroll shooting 4 of 6, so when they put the ball up, it works. However, shots have been hard to come by.
You hit the nail right on the head there, Matt. Another note is both these teams have been trying to go into the paint to get their buckets, trying these aggressive drives, some of them on multiple coverage.
Jump pass by Faborowski.
Yeah, and I mean,
puts on the brakes with no numbers.
Yeah, you know, they've been trying to drive and get the points in the paint, but you don't forget, Carroll's #1 and Wheaton's #2 from beyond the arc this season.
Richardson off the mark. Second chance. Kaiser with the travel.
Yeah, that was just the third three-ball attempted in this contest, Matt. Each team had one before Wheaton took their second. Something that's going to be interesting to see if they keep trying to attack the paint or if they decide to start going and laying some in from deep.
With a couple of the best three-point shooters in the conference in this game. Something that we might see later as Barger continues her happy homecoming. She has 6 of Carroll's 10.
Yeah, the Bloomington native has came out strong. I mean, the 2 fast breaks, that one her first shot in contention, a deep 2, and it went in, no questions asked. And now we're probably seeing the most aggressive press from the Pioneers so far.
Wheaton's able to break it for the moment. Halverson knocks it out of bounds.
Yeah, no, that was some great second chance defense per se, kind of saving you from the break in the press by Chloe Halverson, the senior from Wisconsin. You know, when you have the press, that means, in theory, as we just saw, you have 3 people back. Well, that means somebody's going to be wide open, and Halverson figured out who that was and just swatted that one out of the air.
Thunder have yet to be tied in this game after zeros. Can do that with a 3-ball. 7 to shoot. Oliver brings Wheaton within 1.
2-point basket.
Yeah, you know, you said they haven't been tied yet, but they've been close. I mean, this isn't even an 11-point game yet. They've been keeping each other in check, but they've also had great drives like this where Rangel goes right into the paint and has all the confidence in the world. And like you said, Matt, they put them up. They've been falling down.
And that's something, if Carroll needs to go to their bailout plan, that's exactly it. You put Rangel on the rail and let her take over. Pioneers hoping that's not the case. Richardson with the response.
Yeah, we just saw the arguably two of the top players on each side just walk into that paint with all the confidence in the world and make it. Unlike Rangel's, only had to go against one. Carroll might want to put another presence in the paint or just follow her more into when she tries to attack the post.
Since that media timeout, scoring has increased exponentially as Rangel's put up the last 4 for the Pioneers. Carroll's now 5 of their last 6 from the floor. Wheaton 4 of 5.
I mean, Rangel and
Martin fouled on her way up. She heads for the game's first free throws.
Yeah, looking back at Carroll, Barger and Rangel, both 3 for 3 shooting. We've been talking about it a lot, and I know it's early, but I mean, Carroll 7 for 9 and Wheaton 5 for 9. Both of them shooting better than 50 right now.
It's on Barger, her first, team's first. Martin from the free throw line this year, shooting 73%.
Yeah, Alexis Martin, the only person for Wheaton that did not start the last time these two played out of the 5 that walked out on the floor tonight for Coach Matson.
Martin and Cato, that next tier on this Thunder squad that, like we've talked about, will need to make an impact if Wheaton wants a shot at playing tomorrow. Inside cut from Locher. Gets the reverse.
Yeah, fun stat for those of you at home who follow Carroll pretty heavily. Locher normally wears number 14, but had to switch number 2 today, Matt, for some jersey complications.
In and out from Oliver. Sometimes you see that when you wear white away from your home building. Gracious is on the board. Her first bucket of the day.
Yeah, Kate Oliver had to come in and play help defense on Gracious when nobody else was there. I don't really know if Oliver was on that assignment as we got some fast break there.
Oliver a little too much with the fake move. Carroll with a chance for their largest lead. In and out. Second goal from Rangel.
Yeah, Rangel's just got all the confidence in the world right now, and I don't think I can keep saying that enough, Matt. I mean, she just ran straight in there, and put it back right up.
She now leads the Pioneers with 8 points. Carroll with their largest lead of 7 behind a 6-0 run over the last 70 seconds. Wheaton in desperate need of an answer, and Martin delivers.
Yeah, that's not something Carroll's going to want to do, leaving a player like Martin out with open space on the arc. Even if somebody's not shooting the best three ball on the team, somebody being open beyond the arc gives them the confidence to go and make that shot.
Rangel off the toe. Kick out, Loker, triple. Rebounded by Martin.
That was Rangel's first miss of the game, and the reason that she is the most outstanding player in the CCIW this season.
4-second differential between shot and game clock. Wheaton with an opportunity to make it a one-score game heading into the second 10. 10 to shoot. Oliver lost it. Foul on Rangel, her first, team second.
Yeah, that's Rangel on Kate Oliver, and that's a matchup that, you know, is going to be interesting to watch when you have both of your team's star offensive powerhouses following each other back down on the floor, tiring each other out. You know, like you said, these girls have to play tomorrow, something they're not used to, Matt, and getting tired out playing on somebody else's top offensive star, not going to help you tomorrow when you got to go play another winner gets the conference game.
Richardson lost it. Shot clock off. Last second effort from Wisner. Does not go. Emergency and unsuccessful from Katie Barger. So back and forth we go. The main story in the first quarter. Carroll with a 6-0 run. That's pretty much separation point. Pioneers lead by 4. 30 seconds and then a profile of our head coaches when we come back on IWSports.com.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Start of the second quarter at the Shirk. Carroll with a 4-point advantage over Wheaton in the first semifinal. Matt Sossler, Caden Sexton. A matchup between two of the most accomplished coaches during their careers in the CCIW. Lindsay Schultz for Carroll in her 9th season, a record of 109 and 108. Won CCIW Coach of the Year last season, opposed by Kent Madsen. Now 6-time CCIW Coach of the Year in his 15th season. He was tied for the most yearly honors with Maya Smith of Illinois Wesleyan until last Monday when Coach Smith picked up her 7th CCIW Coach of the Year award.
Yeah, tonight we're going to see a lot of great basketball minds, a lot of accomplished basketball brains, and these are just two of the best in the CCIW.
Pioneers start with possession. Elena Pentalber, the freshman in the game for the first time. Wisner lost it out of bounds, and Wheaton takes over. Carroll led by as many as 7 at 20-13 with 1:17 left in the first. Additional pressure from the Pioneers. Trumbach. Long 2. Sails deep.
This press is already tiring both sides out. And, you know, first quarter, we didn't see many misses. Now, again, very, very early, and it's hard to speak early. There's a deep 3 there.
Richardson brings Wheaton back within 1. The all-conference selectee now shooting 50%, 1 of 2 from behind the arc.
Yeah, the team as a whole for the Thunder, 3 for 5 from deep. That's why, I mean, they are second in conference shooting the 3 ball. They could continue to have success if they keep firing from behind the arc.
Faborowski knocks it out. And these are two teams that, despite the pressure from Carroll, these are two teams that are not used to playing helter-skelter basketball. Wheaton averages 62 points per game. Their opposition averages 60. As for Carroll, Their opposition averages 64.
Egregious and Rangel, the two players for this Pioneers squad.
Kaiser. Wheaton can't get their first lead of the night, but they get a second go. Oliver with an alley. Swing, second chance. Kaiser gives Wheaton the first lead of the day.
Yeah, that's the second time Kaiser was left open on the arc, and whoever drove into the paint found Kaiser and was able to connect for a three. It's her second three of the contest.
The small army of Thunder trying to rally the crowd as Rangel brings us back to even. She's got 10, and for Rangel, that's what she does night in and night out. Finish in double figures. All but one game this year, all but 21 in her career, and she's played more than 100 as Kate Oliver earns a trip to the free throw line.
Yeah, Rangel took a slight breather on the bench to start this quarter along with Natalie Egregious, but after Coach Schultz saw a couple possessions where they weren't able to get a bucket, they got right back out there, and they've been getting Carroll right back to this tie game.
Fouls on Wisner, her first, team's first. Wheaton back ahead.
Free throws always have the ability to do that, Matt. It just gets you creeping back in. Kate Oliver, 7 for 9 the last time these two teams met. Only her and Richardson shot a free throw in that contest.
Oliver turning offense into defense, knocking it over the baseline. And that's the way this Wheaton team plays. A lot of their wins have come by sticking around and then getting it done in the fourth quarter. They're not going to lead for a lot of time, but they're certainly going to keep it a game, as they have so far today. Rangel on Trumbach, mismatch. Rebounded by Trumbach. Foul called against Wisner. That's her second in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, and that's not something Wisner wants to do, but you could even see it on her face. That's just an accidental foul. Those happen, but when she's going to go to the bench, she's going to breathe it off, she's going to shake it off, but it's a mental game at this point, Matt. When you make a foul like that, you just have to go to the bench, forget about it, and get ready to go for the next time you're on the floor.
Most notable thing, Carroll's best three-point shooter and one of the best nationally, it's probably out for the rest of this quarter. Richardson with a triple, and Wheaton continues to build on their lead, and a timeout called by Coach Schultz.
Timeout, Carroll Power.
Coach Schultz wants to talk things through as Wheaton has started a 13-2 run over the last 4 minutes, led by Kent Madsen, and with more, here's Alex Bardenitis.
Thank you, Matt. The 24-25 season marks Kent Madsen's 15th year as head coach and 23rd overall as a women's basketball coach at Wheaton. Madsen was named head coach of the Thunder program in May of 2011. In July of 2013, he was named assistant athletics director and has added a supervisory role to the position, overseeing several coaches within the department. Madsen owns a career record of 266-99 as a head coach, has the highest winning percentage in the CCIW women's basketball history, and is the fastest coach to reach the 150 win mark in conference history. Back to you, Matt.
Thank you, Alex. Madsen, now the second active winningest coach in the conference, trailing Maya Smith. We'll dive deeper on Coach Smith later on. Wheaton up by 4, their largest lead of the game.
Wheaton right now shooting 62.5 from beyond the arc, 52 from the field. The three ball's been working, Matt. We'll see how much Madsen wants to come out here and keep shooting it.
Rangel turns it over out of the timeout, but the Thunder give it right back.
Yeah, tip there by Carroll got them this second chance breakaway.
Marger got Trumbach in the air. Thunder slow it down. Oliver straight on, but can't close. She's going to want that back.
Yeah, that's something you think about a long time. Is just the shot that you had the clear lane, you put it on the rim, and then it just goes into the hands of the opponent. That's something she's going to think about, but she has to forget about it because this is a win-or-go-home game.
She's 1 of 5 from the floor today, including a couple of misses on the doorstep. Approaching the midpoint of this second quarter, winner moves on to tomorrow's championship game. Kaiser, too short. And for Carroll, Olivia Rangel with 10. Natalie Grecius has been mostly absent, only 2 points, and get this, 0 rebounds.
Yeah, 20 points, 8 rebounds the last time she played Wheaton. Something she's going to want to reverse for her team to get back into this one, although they're only 2 behind.
Loker off the mark, kept on this end, and Katie Barger is into double figures.
Yeah, the reason that Carroll has stayed so close this whole game is because their first shot might not fall, but they've been able to stay calm and just keep going, grabbing all these rebounds.
Offensive rebounds even at 4 apiece, tied at 26. Make that +1 in favor of Wheaton with that board. Second chance. Carroll with a chance to reclaim the lead. In and out of the hands of Loker.
Carroll's playing a little bit too fast for themselves right now, and that's what's resulting in a couple of these mistakes. They need to just take a deep breath before they choose their plan of attack.
Grecius with the 3.
You know, I say that, and they did slow it down. They passed it to the right player, and that's the first 3 completed, not just for Grecius, but for Carroll, the #1 shooting 3-point team in the CCIW in this contest.
Especially with Wisner on the bench with a pair of fouls. Richardson, no response. And Grecius with the rebound.
Yeah, Wheaton's been trying to draw up the 3 ball from the wing ever since the 2 fell for Kaiser, and it hasn't worked out for them so far.
Blocked by Richardson. No success from Cato on the other side. That's Richardson's 15th block of the season. Rangel down Main Street. Expands the Pioneer lead.
I mean, what can you do when you put 3 in the paint and the player of the year just walks right in and puts 1 right in the hoop?
So now it's the Pioneers on a 7-0 run over the last 3 minutes. Oliver continues to struggle down low.
Yeah, these are shots that Wheaton is going to want back, and they're going to want them back right now. As you said, 7-0 run. Time is ticking.
And Halverson with the 3, and Coach Madsen takes a timeout with 3.5 minutes until halftime. Pioneers up by 8. That's their largest lead of the day. And Caden, Wheaton was on a 13-2 run. Oliver comes up short on the doorstep. And now the Pioneers on a 9-0 run. And Wheaton just can't get anything to fall. It's an ebb and flow of a basketball game.
Well, basketball, in my opinion, is one of the most streakiest sports, and it's the sport that runs can kill or thrive your success. And what you saw there is just they didn't make Wheaton made the mistakes themselves. As you said, they're on the doorstep, the ball is rolling around the rim, and it's not falling. When you have open looks and when you're making shots and they're not falling, it's on you. It's not on Carroll's prolific defense. And Wheaton needs to get there, just forget about it, but also think about it. It's a hard concept, Matt, but they got to focus, and they got to focus right now.
Carroll's also out rebounding Wheaton 16-12. Turnover is fairly even. Wheaton has given it up 7 times. Carroll just 5. But the Pioneers trying to break this game open early and set their sights on tomorrow. Wheaton in need of another run to chip away. Kabarowski in trouble. Martin travels. Wanted a cut, had nobody available. Coach Schultz telling her team to get set and move fast.
Looks like Olivia Rangel just had to rip off her headband. She threw some piece of fabric off her head to the bench, Matt.
That is the case. So forced without it for now. Sometimes that can take a toll on a player. Feels a little bit different. Gracious fouled.
Matson wants the ref to give a reasoning on that one. Gracious, one of the stars for, not just in the conference, I mean, she's the second leading scorer in the conference, but leading this team.
Also one of the better free throw shooters. It's on Richardson, too. Just her first and the team's first of the quarter with under 3 until halftime.
Yeah, you're correct. 78.8. So I'll round up and be nice. Give her the 79 a game.
And a rare double team trap from the Pioneers. That's something we haven't seen, at least in the 2 games against Illinois Wesleyan. But Carroll with a 10-point lead. Maybe they can afford to let loose a little bit. Richardson loses it. 14-0 run for the Pioneers. Inside Paulskill, and all the buckets are falling for the Pioneers in the last 5 minutes.
And that's what makes the Pioneers so dangerous, is when Rangel goes into the paint, player of the year, you put your 3 girls on her, try and isolate her from taking the shot. She finds somebody open like Pascal, get another bucket.
Richardson breaks up the scoreless spell. First basket in nearly 5 minutes for Wheaton.
And it was an 18-4 run before that Richardson bucket.
Turnover, one of the first positive sequences for the Thunder in this second quarter. Martin fouled. She heads to the line. And Coach Schultz not thrilled about that. Potentially a give back. Especially since that's on Gracious, her first, team's third. So now fouls are starting to become a factor with Carroll at 3, still over 90 seconds left in the quarter. On top of that, Wheaton with a chance to get some points with the clock stopped.
You know, if she makes the second, it's only an 8-point game. That's not. That's very manageable. You're gonna have to play some defense. You're gonna get some more opportunities to make some shots here in the quarter. But this last minute 37, thanks to those free throws, could either inch them back in, or Carroll could take it and run and make it a really hard second half for the Thunder.
Pentalber in, or check that, Pentalber out. Barger back in. Gracious motors on in.
Natalie Gracious.
Yeah, Gracious didn't really have the first quarter she wanted, but she's already up to 9 points in total in the game, and that's thanks to her second half efforts.
All of them coming in this second quarter. Oliver continues a cold spell individually, 1 of 7 from the floor. Only 3 points for the all-conference selectee. Into the backcourt. Wheaton gets it back with a 14-second differential between shot and game clock. So the Thunder with a chance to get the 2-for-1, trailing by 10. And if the 2-for-1 successful, you're looking at maybe a 6-point game. Potentially as low as 4.
You know, if you're Chloe Halverson, you hate that you have to touch that ball, but when there's 2 Thunder roaming in on it, you have to just let the whistle get blown dead and set up your defense. So
5 seconds for the 2-for-1. Cato, unsuccessful. Less than a second differential between shot and game, so the Pioneers, for all intents and purposes, can hang on for the last shot.
Spoke a second, maybe the broadcast jinx was in the air, but then it got reeled back in by Rangel.
10 seconds. Halverson fouled. The Thunder have several to give. That's just their second of the quarter. So it forces the Pioneers to reset, and whatever difference we have between shot and game clock is eliminated. It's interesting strategy from Coach Madsen. You choose to play the foul game here, considering personal fouls are still a factor in the second quarter. 5 seconds, a mile from the basket. Rangel from Chenoa. And Carroll is able to end the second quarter on an 18-4 run, and they take a 10-point lead into the locker room. And the main story of the second quarter has been the dynamic duo, Rangel and Grecius, coming alive in the first half, combining for 21 points. And with more on them, here's Alex.
Thank you, Matt. Senior guard Olivia Rangel and junior forward Natalie Grecius each earned unanimous first-team selections, while junior guard Emily Weisner received second-team honors. This marks the fourth consecutive season that the Pioneers have had 3 players named to the all-conference team. Rangel, who was named the CCIW Laurie Caron's most outstanding student athlete, is making her 4th consecutive first-team all-conference appearance and 2nd straight unanimous selection. Named CCIW First-Year Student Athlete of the Year as a freshman, she finished the regular season as the conference's leading scorer with 18.4 points per game. She currently ranks 4th in program history for career points with 1,609. Back to you, Matt.
Appreciate it, Alex. At the half, Carroll with a 10-point lead, 20 minutes out from their second straight CCIW championship appearance. We'll take a quick timeout and then take a look at some scores, or a score, from around the conference on iwsports.com.
At NCAA championships, noise is made here. Memories are made here. Champions win here. The only thing missing here is you. The NCAA Division III Softball Championship coming to Bloomington, Illinois this May. Get your tickets today at ncaa.com/tickets.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12-ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them. Yeah. Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12-ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Carroll up 40-30 at the half in Bloomington in the first of 2 CCIW semifinals. I'm Matt Sauce. Take a look at your first half stats. And Caden, the back end of that second quarter, dominated by the Pioneers.
Yeah, ending on an 18-4 run the last 7 in a little bit of change minutes really helped Carroll go into the locker room strong. It was Katie Barger in the first quarter who was getting those fast break buckets and just being the kind of the anchor for the team. Then Olivia Rangel ramped it up, the player of the year, and then late we saw Natalie Grecius finally come to life. And I think once the 2 stars started playing their best, that's when the 40-30 deficit began to form.
Semifinal Friday in the CCIW. Only one other game taking place in the CCIW today at this time. We'll have the other 2 semifinals starting just after 7 o'clock on the men's and women's side. But the Titan men ahead big on Augustana less than a week after losing to the Vikings in Rock Island, up 35-16, 3 minutes left in the first half. CCIW Newcomer of the Year, the freshman Josh Fridman with 15 points, shooting 4 of 5 from 3. Carlo Kolak with 9, Hakeem Williams with 6, Trey Bazell with Trey, and Nick Roper with 2 for the Titan men. One of the reasons why they're ahead by so much is Tyler Knuth, the straw that serves the drink for Augustana, has been absent. Only 4 points for a player that scored the first 10 for the Vikings last Saturday in Rock Island. Augustana, a team that plays extremely well in their gym, When they're forced away from home, it might be another story. So the Titan men up 19 at the half. Here in the first semifinal, on the women's side, the Carroll Pioneers up 40-30 with a championship appearance tomorrow on the line on IWSports.com.
It's time to play Did You Know with Illinois Wesleyan. First off, true or false? On average, over half of tuition for accepted students is covered by scholarships and grants. True. IWU invests more than $40 million in scholarships and grants for students each year. Where has IWU ranked in highest earning graduates among small schools in Illinois? If you guessed number 1, you got it. And what's even better, IWU is the number 1 college in Illinois for getting a job and number 7 in the nation. Last question, how much does it cost to apply to Illinois Wesleyan? If you said nothing, well, you're right. There's absolutely no application fee. So what are you waiting for? Visit, apply, and see all the opportunities for success that await you at Illinois Wesleyan University.
OSF Healthcare Cardiovascular Institute has been named one of the top hospital systems in the country for heart care. This prestigious award by the American College of Cardiology comes from our commitment to providing the highest quality of care, from general cardiology to complex surgeries and the latest technology. Nationally recognized heart care right here. OSF Healthcare Cardiovascular Institute.
Halftime in the first semifinal of the CCIW tournament, the 2-seed Carroll Pioneers with a 40-30 advantage over the 4th seed Wheaton Thunder. Matt Sosler, Caden Sexton. Let's take a glance at the bracket on the women's side. It's fairly simple as of this point. Wheaton and Carroll will finish up this game in the second half. The winner plays tomorrow night at 7 against either the top-seeded Titans or 6th-seeded Milliken, following their upset at Carthage on Tuesday.
I mean, you said it perfectly. Carroll, the reigning conference champions. They won the tournament in this building last year. Will they hold on to the lead and go and try and play the winner of Milliken in Illinois Wesleyan tomorrow? Or will Wheaton be able to come back, get an upset after being down 10 in the first half, and try and get to play on for another conference title tomorrow? They haven't been in the game in a couple years. They'd love to be able to play for it in a little bit.
It's been since pre-pandemic times that Wheaton has been back in the conference championship, and of course, Caden, the thing at stake is not just a conference championship. Obviously, everybody loves that, but for Carroll, they're trying to get their name heard on Monday. And the two ways that can happen, if they're able to go 2-0 this weekend, they can have a restful Sunday and know that they're playing next week. However, taking a look at the current NPI, which is the only metric that matters, any other ranking you can throw out of the way. Carroll has some work to do in terms of the NPI. This is courtesy of the D3 Datacast. They do some great work with the NPI. It's directly drawn from the NCAA site, so it is accurate up to the minute. Last update was February 28th, this morning, before all the games were played. Carroll is currently at 74, which tells everybody, given that there's only 64 teams that make the tournament, and also there are going to be some conference champions that are rated below spot 64. Carroll, at the very least, has to win today. But their most ideal path to making the CCIW a 2-bid league is winning this conference championship.
Look, if you win today, you get to play tomorrow, and putting up a good fight. If you, let's just say for theory's sake, Illinois Wesleyan wins, since they have a high NPI, playing them strong, beating them obviously gets you the automatic bid because you've won in one conference. But if you play Illinois Wesleyan, if that's the matchup tomorrow, strong, your NPI might not go up drastically, but it could go up 1 or 2 spots that you can get in. But no matter what, that's not going to be confident. You're still going to be nervous, and the odds are still not in Carroll's favor. The win today will definitely help. A strong fight tomorrow against whoever they play, win or loss, either gets them in or puts them closer, but winning the next 2 is the only clear path.
Wheaton is 103rd in the MPI, so for them, they have to go 2-0 for their season to continue beyond this. In terms of implications for Illinois Wesleyan, we'll see how this plays out. Given the conference tournament schedule, it's not an entirely clear picture. The Titans currently sit as of this minute at 5th. However, Scranton, who occupies the 4th spot, and Baldwin-Wallace, who sit at 3, have each played 26 games. The Titans have only played 25. So you'd take a guess with those teams being within a point of each other in the MPI that if Illinois Wesleyan should beat Milliken tonight, that the Titans would jump up at least a spot, and that's critical, being top 4 in the MPI, looking way ahead. You position yourself to host a second weekend in the NCAA tournament, and also depending on how far they're able to climb, it's who can avoid NYU the longest in the national tournament. And if the Titans are 2 or 3, then that's a different picture if they're 4th or 5th, depending on how. There is still a committee for bracketing. The top 8 spots are protected, meaning they will not see each other until the Elite 8. However, geography plays a factor in terms of how the top 8 collide in a second weekend matchup with a trip to Virginia on the line. But that's at the end of a very long postseason journey in Division III college basketball. We're at the beginning. First round in the conference tournament, the semifinals for the CCIW, and it's the Carroll Pioneers, the 2 seed, up 10 over Wheaton. Second half on the other side on IWSports.com.
Why is Illinois Wesleyan the #1 school in Illinois for jobs? Maybe it's because we're the AND University. That's right, A-N-D. And here you can explore the arts and study in a pre-professional program, double major, and play a sport, do an internship, and study abroad. Your opportunities are endless. Set yourself apart with a degree from Illinois Wesleyan.
All right, pay attention. Welcome to Fandom 101. We'll cover the tools of the trade, from foam fingers in the wave to the super secret wave. How's that for a course description? Lesson 1, your game starts long before the opening whistle, so arrive prepared. 2, if something piques your interest, raise your hand. And 3, work in groups. NCAA championships, attendance is encouraged, passion is mandatory. Get your seats today at ncaa.com/tickets. Class dismissed.
Start of the second half in the first of 2 CCIW semis. Carroll up 40-30 over Wheaton, the 2 seed, leading Matt Sossler, Caden Sexton. Before we look ahead to the third quarter, looking at one pivotal number from the second quarter. Carroll shot 53%, 8 of 15 from the field. Wheaton, after shooting 50% in the first 10, limited to just 4 of 15 from the floor. And Caden, you could say that's the difference in this game.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, even go one step further, they were at one point, I think it was around 8-7 minutes left in the second quarter, they were shooting above 60% from 3. Now they're just shooting 33 and a third from 3, making only just 1 of 3 shots from beyond the arc, is not where they were at, and I think the momentum completely shifted, and that was because, that was just because of mental mistakes, Matt. Let's be honest. Carroll's defense wasn't playing bad basketball, but it was the shots that were going off the rim that resulted in all those misses. Not anything blocked, not any tight coverage, just the slight miscalculations, but those slight miscalculations puts you down 10 at halftime and gives you a lot of work to do if you want to play tomorrow.
A lot of near misses from the Thunder in the second quarter. If you're Coach Schultz leading by 10, what's your keys to running away with this? Maybe getting some rotation players some rest and staying in Bloomington tonight.
Look, you got to just tell them to play your brand of basketball. You already have the lead. Don't try and play Wheaton basketball. Don't try and do anything other than what you're comfortable with. And if you're Wheaton, you've got to break down the barrier. You got to come out hot, have a quick start, and crawl back into it to make Carroll feel a little bit uncomfortable and make Carroll have to adjust.
The Thunder had a 13-2 run in the first half, and they start with the basketball. With a lot of support, their men's basketball team making the trip about an hour and a half down I-55 to support their women's squad, including Soren Richardson, and his sister Annika can't finish at the rim. That's a player to watch on the men's side. Soren Richardson put up over 50 in a game in the regular season as Grecius opens the book in the third.
And a tight press already for the Pioneers. Wheaton's going to have a lot on their plates if Carroll keeps playing this physical.
The kryptonite for Wheaton this year has been their ability to stay in games when they're sped up. Second turnover for the Thunder in the third quarter, less than a minute gone. And we're starting to see Carroll put the clamps on them, now leading by 12, but you're also seeing the tempo increase from Carroll. Stays here.
You know, the men's team there, they know the rules of basketball better than us and most people in this building. They had an earful for the refs there, but, you know, some of that is just, hey, what does our coach do? Let's get in the mind of the ref. Let's try and help our sister, our teammates, or I'm sorry, our schoolmates out.
Rangel tapped out. Hit off of Halverson last. Starting to see the crowd fizzle in for the main event. Top-seeded Titans taking on their rivals to the south, the Milliken Big Blue, in a Senior Day rematch. And if you thought Senior Day was pandemonium in the Shirk, buckle your seatbelts. Wheaton still seeking their first field goal of the half, and Annika Richardson puts that myth to rest.
Yeah, the quick transition points is what's going to be needed for Wheaton to stay in this game.
Wisner in for the first time since picking up her second foul in the early second period, long on the three. Richardson gives it up.
Yeah, right place, right time there for Wisner. Not much more to say about that.
Rangel on Kaiser, and that's a textbook move. Foul called, that's on Rangel, her second.
Last player you want getting in foul trouble if you're Coach Schultz. Just got to tell her to keep calm and play strong defense. Don't be lax on defense, but don't make the mental mistakes that get you in trouble.
The one thing amongst many things, Oliver on the spin, finally to break a personal scoreless spell. The one thing about Rangel is that she tends to get into foul trouble early, but she is great at avoiding foul number 3 and foul number 4. Halverson responds.
You know, Carroll hasn't had trouble finding that 3-ball today. They've only got 2 up in the first half, but Carroll right there with
3 of 8 from deep. Foul on Faborowski against Barger. Team's first. And Faborowski's first. Rangel did get into foul trouble in last year's CCIW semi against Milliken. A very pivotal play where her and Elise Knudsen got into a collision late in the fourth. And it was either player's what would have been 5th foul. Carroll wound up winning that game. Wisner fouled on her way up. It's on Martin. Team's second, Martin's first.
Yeah, Wisner's got the most 3-ball attempts as well as the most 3-ball makes on this team. And she was calling around the wing for that ball for a long time. When she finally got the ball, Wheaton decided to close the gap on her. However, once she got closer to the hoop, they had to make the foul.
First trip for Wisner at the line. Shooting nearly 86% from the stripe entering today.
Number 1 on the Pioneers from the charity line.
And close to the top in conference. Carroll continues to climb their largest lead. It's now 15. Oliver creates. Cato with the mid-range.
You know, that's what you get when you try and play a half-man, half-zone look. Somebody's going to be open. Normally, the rest of the team that was open throughout that transition.
Friendly roll from Wisner. Her first made 3 of the day. And a backbreaker for the Thunder. Richardson blocked out of bounds by Halverson.
Natalie Paulskill checks in for the Pioneers.
Blocks are something that Carroll has had to replace in the aggregate this year. For the majority of this season, they've been without their 2 top shot blockers from a year ago, losing Allison Thompson, the 6'4" post to graduation last year. 3 ball. Clanks off from Kaiser, out of bounds. Off a blue jersey last. They also have been without Ryan Wendt for all but 3 minutes this year. Thompson closed the year with 35, Wendt with 11, everybody else 10 or less. And this year, it's been a change in style. Barger entered today with 4, Loker with 3, and Kratz with 3.
This might be the loudest that this gym has gotten in this first game. We know it's going to be a lot louder later.
Wisner fouled on the shot. Anna Nielsen, who did not play against Elmhurst last Saturday, takes a knee at the scorer's table. In for Kratz, and we're starting to see Coach Schultz with the Pioneers leading by 16 midway through the third. Maybe go a little bit deeper, play some time and score. You want some momentum, but preserving legs, no matter who you play tomorrow, whether it be Illinois Wesleyan or Millikan, is the top priority.
Yeah, Nielsen only played in 10 minutes last time these two schools met. You know, as Coach Schultz makes that move, Kent Matson immediately brought Alyssa Faborowski back into the game to try and bring his starters back to counteract the kind of restful mindset of Schultz.
And Coach Madsen and the Thunder in need of a rabbit out of the hat. Rangel from the backside knocked it out.
Yeah, she's Rangel's second in steals with 3.1. She only has 1 today, but she's somebody you gotta watch if she's coming from if she's behind you still.
And given the style that Wheaton plays, this is not the most comfortable position for the Thunder. They like to play slow. They like to work at a controlled pace.
And they're not going away from their brand of basketball, but just the mental mistakes have, just like right there, mental mistakes keep hurting them.
Kept alive, Halverson can't put the Pioneers up 20. And that's the thing, Caden. You come up with an empty trip, you burn 20 to 25 seconds off the timer.
You're working against Carroll. It's still a close game, but with more and more time on the clock, the slow pace that Wheaton likes to play really results in the clock working against you.
Richardson too much. Wheaton in this third quarter now under 50% from the field. There hasn't been a ton of field goal attempts for the Thunder. That was just their 7th knocked out of bounds. It stays with the Pioneers.
Faborowski a little surprised with that decision.
Sometimes you got to sell it yourself, see what you can get. And now we get a timeout. They'll extend into a media timeout. Let's see if they go to the monitor. They will not, considering we're not under 2 minutes. Media timeout. In this third quarter, Carroll has outscored Wheaton 14-6. Behind the duo of Grecius and Rangel. On the other side, Wheaton has 14 for Monica Richardson, Kate Oliver with just 5, and with more on Wheaton's scoring tandem, here's Alex.
Thank you, Matt. Annika Richardson and Kate Oliver each earned all CCIW recognition for their outstanding 24-25 seasons. Richardson earns her third career All-Conference Award with first-team All-CCIW recognition this year. She previously earned second-team All-CCIW accolades in 22-23 and in 2021-2022. Richardson averaged 14.7 points per game this year, shooting a 42.9%. Richardson led the team in rebounding with 7.2 per games and a team-high 3 assists per game. Oliver picked up second-team All-CCIW accolades for her first career All-Conference Award. In 25 games this season, Oliver has a team-high 15.4 points per game. Back to you, Matt.
Appreciate it, Alex. The Thunder will need Kate Oliver to light the match offensively if they want a chance at coming back down 18, 4 minutes and 37 seconds left in the third quarter. Winner advances to tomorrow's championship game. Foul on the back end. It's on Richardson. That's her second, but Kaden, you could say for Wheaton, fouls are irrelevant. I would be shocked if Richardson and Oliver take a seat on the bench for the rest of this game.
No, you're correct, Matt. This is not only are they not really close yet in foul trouble, but as you said, when you've got 2 conference select players.
And the jump from Oliver leaves Rangel open. And Carroll leads by 21, first lead of more than 20 today. Foul called on Grecius. That's her second, and it goes both ways. You have foul trouble for Wheaton not being a factor. You could say it's a little bit of a problem for Carroll if they hit foul number 3, because that'd be the only way to leave the door ajar for the Thunder, is if Grecius or Rangel or both are forced to the bench. An 8-0 run for the Pioneers over the last 3 minutes. And Julia Locher with a chance for 10.
Foul is on Wheaton's Annika Richardson.
It's on Richardson, her third, second in the last minute.
Well, we'll see your theory soon. Kent Madsen, not even a break of sweat on the bench. It looks like Richardson should stay out here for a while.
It's also the team's 5th. So to add on, Carroll will shoot free throws for the remaining 4 minutes of this third quarter.
Well, and with the words you just ended it with, 4 minutes. It's not like they're just shooting for a couple seconds. It's not like they're shooting for a minute. They're shooting for 4 minutes. Now it's time to play clean basketball, and it's hard to play clean basketball when you got to get aggressive and you got to make some turnovers. And look at this, Richardson to the bench.
Interesting move with the Thunder now trailing by 23 and their season on the line.
I can only believe it's for a quick breather, not for the 2 fouls.
Faborowski off the tap, gets it back. Foul prevents a fast break on Faborowski. It's not a terrible foul from Faborowski. It would have been 2 for the Pioneers on a fast break. You make them earn it.
No, Faborowski was the deepest player there, and she was nowhere near stopping that ball. I mean, it is a smart call for her. However, it allows somebody from Carroll, in this case, it's Natalie Palskill, to shoot for 2.
Her first attempt. Palskill this year shooting 67%, so I guess if there is somebody that you want to foul, it is her. Goes 0 for 2.
So the foul really just saved you all your points.
Now it's about turning the defense with quotes to offense.
Well, and you use quotes there perfectly. It's not a traditional strategy, but in that case, in the few lucky ones, it works.
Oliver, too much. Carroll outscoring Wheaton in the paint by double the amount, 24-12. Locher from the corner pocket.
Yeah, she was left there, and she gave herself full time to take a breath and shoot. There was zero contention. And, something needs to be noted. It's that Kate Oliver shooting 2 for 9 from the field right now. When you have a star shooting that low, I mean, Matt, you can say it yourself. When there's a star shooting that low, it's hard to reel it in.
especially when you look at some of these teams around the conference that have two primary scorers, like Carroll, Grecius, and Wrangell, who now are combining for 28 points. You look at Wheaton's duo of Richardson and Oliver, 19 points. You also add on Barger with 10, Wisner with 7, and Loker with 7. You look at the theory of basketball, I attribute this to Wesleyan photographer Jim Napperstick, who raised this way back when, feels like ages ago, at the Jack Sigma Invitational to open the season, when the Titan men were playing Platteville, led by likely first-team All-American Logan Pearson. And we were talking pregame, and he said if the Titan men can let Pearson do what Pearson does, but don't let anybody else have a day, they'll be fine. The Titans did just that. They won by more than 10. Wheaton has been unable to do that. Not only have they allowed Wrangell and Grecius to have days, but they've allowed other players to reach near season highs on the day, and that's the reason why they're trailing 62-36.
And, we talked about it in the Open that, both these teams have their two quote-unquote stars, but just because you've got two top players, it doesn't just take them to win, it takes the rest of the lineup. And for Carroll, we've seen that theory come into fruition. If you're Wheaton, not only has Richardson's been playing a good game, she's got 14, but then your next star in Oliver's got 5, and there's not many points to follow after that.
And just threw it through the hands of Jenna Hunter. Carroll has turned it over 7 times. Wheaton has given it away now 15.
The first time these two met, it was a 100-79 win at Carroll. They met again on February 8th at Wheaton for a 71-63 Carroll win. It's been a very different game than either of those two, Matt.
Looking more similar to the one at Van Male in the first trip through the conference. Caddo breaks up a near 4-minute scoring spell.
Wheaton crowd getting back into it. It's mainly by the bench and by the men's basketball team, but nonetheless, there's some volume in this gym now for the first time in this half.
Jump ball. Arrow favors Carroll. Kaden, that's something that you got to do when your backs are against the wall, your season's on the line. Try and do anything to chip away, maybe be within the neighborhood of 15 at the end of the third quarter, and then who knows what can happen over the final 10.
Now it's only 2:05 on the clock, but now is the time to cut down and give yourself some confidence and, more importantly, positive momentum going into the last 10.
Grecius steps on the line. Wisner checks back in place of Loker.
It's interesting to me that we have a press at this stage when you know you have to play tomorrow, and you're going to be a little bit more tired going tomorrow when you're up right now with the deficit that they are. I'm surprised the press hasn't backed off a little bit more than it has.
Hunter, count it in the foul. A much-needed sequence for Wheaton. Score, stop, score, and a chance to create their own miniature 5-0 run.
Katie Barger, her second.
It's on Barger, her second, team's third.
Checks back in for the Pioneers. Also back in for the Thunder, Alyssa Faborowski.
Hunter shooting 73% from the free throw line. Only had 1 point in the quarterfinal matchup against Elmhurst.
She had 6 minutes the last time these two programs met. Only other notable stat was 1 assist.
Can't complete the three-point play. Wrangell sent Trumbach sprawling. Trumbach, Faborowski. Long rebound to Grecius.
That was more of a traditional zone defense from Carroll. Haven't seen that as much. Kind of seen a man with a emphasis on the paint. Now they're really trying to just make Wheaton work for their buckets.
Gracious straight on, makes her second three of the day. Annika Richardson not on the court for Wheaton, picked up her third foul in the middle of this frame.
And, we theorized it, and I'm a little shocked that we're incorrect that she hasn't been back out there yet. She's kind of the spark, and she's the points leader at 14, and the spark they're looking for.
Oliver off the dump. Hunter on the assist.
And see, after shooting 3 for 10 today, if she made a couple more of those, which she was just hitting the rim and rolling it around, she made a couple more of those, it would be a different ball game right now. They're not out of it, but they need her to keep doing that.
Wisner off a contact.
Emily Wisner.
Shot clock off, so Wheaton with a 3, it would be 22 heading into the fourth quarter. 10 seconds. Faborowski on the drive.
It's not the 3 that they would have loved, but it's points, and that's positive mentality going into the last 10.
So Carroll in the third quarter outscores Wheaton 27-12. They separate themselves. They're 10 minutes away from their second consecutive championship game appearance. We'll take a quick timeout. Back for the last 10 of regulation on IWSports.com.
What is
At NCAA championships, noise is made here. Memories are made here. Champions win here. The only thing missing here is you. The NCAA Division III Softball Championship coming to Bloomington, Illinois this May. Get your tickets today at ncaa.com/tickets.
Start of the fourth quarter in the first CCIW semifinal. Matt Osler, Caden Sexton. Carroll with a commanding 67-44 lead. As the scoreboard flashes off, we get a brief delay. Carroll outscoring Wheaton 27-14 in that third quarter. Separation point in this contest as Illinois Wesleyan watches on, trying to get as much of a scout as they can before they take the court against Milliken in the second semifinal. That has everything packaged into it. A Friday night at the Shirk Center, Wesleyan versus Milliken, which is good no matter what the situation is. And you add on the postseason element.
Teams went to their huddles. The second the scoreboard went back on, we play more basketball, Matt. 10 more in this first game before we see the number 1 seed Titans host the Big Blue.
Wheaton in need of a quick start. Oliver, who's been relatively quiet with the step through, and her struggles in the post continue.
She's the spark that they're looking for, as that's 2 more for Rangel. She's the spark that they need, but she's not creating one right now.
Oliver with 7 points, 3 of 11 from the field, nothing of 2 from three-point land. Faborowski short on the mid-range. Wheaton now south of 40% from the floor today. Rangel lost it. Annika Richardson back in the game with 3 fouls. Turnovers galore to start off the final 10. Wisner can't leave her open.
It'll be interesting to see when some of these top players come out for Carroll, Matt. We've been talking all night about how the physicality, the tempo for Carroll has not slowed down yet, as that one just taken away in mid-space or in the middle of the floor by Wisner.
Halverson with the finish. That's something that you could say the intensity won't dial back. No matter who's on the court for Carroll, they're going to keep playing how they play. It's just a matter of who is on the court for the Pioneers. 7-minute mark is usually that time when coaches go deeper in the bench as Oliver finishes from deep, much needed for her.
It's her first 3-ball of the day. She's now shooting 4 for 12.
Rangel heads to the line, and we start to talk about game within a game. Rangel from the free throw line today. This will be her first attempt. However, the last time she shot free throws at the Shirk. It's the difference between this game being played here and being played in Waukesha. Because that's if you assume the rest of the CCIW slate went winning out. Obviously that didn't happen, but if both Wesleyan and Carroll won out the rest of the way, with Carroll having all that momentum, Rangel struggled from the free throw line in the second half against the Titans, and it left the door open as Illinois Wesleyan capped off an 18-point comeback. So that's an important factor for her. Obviously much less of a crowd to deal with this time around, but just to get right in this gym.
If Wesleyan wins tonight, however, crowd will be the same tomorrow. She shot 6 for 6 from the charity stripe the last 2 times these two teams saw each other, but as you mentioned, her free throw shooting in the Shirk hasn't been as solid.
Gracious with the and one. And Carroll continues to build on their largest lead. Up to 31. It's on Oliver, her first. This Wheaton team, in terms of active players, Alexis Martin and Annika Richardson.
Checking in for Gracious, number 11, Casey Kratz.
Pair of seniors. .725 left in the fourth, 79-47. Carroll with the lead. Offensive foul called against the Thunder.
Foul is on the Thunder's number 24, Kate Oliver.
It's on Oliver. That's her second.
That is her second and the team's third.
You know, Oliver has continuously been given the ball, continuously been given the chances. She's been playing strong on the other end of the floor on with her defense, but you know, it's a little too late. But Kent Madsen might want to find somebody else to put the ball in the hands of, and it's Oliver's been the spark all season, but just continues to come up just a little bit short tonight.
You got to give credit to this Wheaton squad, though, even though barring a miraculous comeback, their season will come to an end today. This is a Wheaton team that not many thought would be here today as Rangel's fouled. She heads for 2.
It's the 4th of the quarter as well, Matt. But
that was on Grace Kaiser.
This Wheaton team did not make the tournament last year. Lost leading scorer Annie Tate. Not only leading scorer, leading everything, Annie Tate. And usually when that happens, you think, how is this team going to continue through their rebuild? Are they going to improve on their win total? Are they going to maybe scratch the surface of the conference tournament? But not only did Wheaton get into the conference tournament, they hosted a first-round game and made it to the semis.
Rangel leaves the floor, substituted.
As Olivia Rangel takes a seat, safe to say that's the last we've seen of her. And if it is, 21 points, 9 of 14 from the field to go along with 3 boards and 8 assists. An Olivia Rangel stat line that everybody knows and loves. Gracious also on the bench, and if it's it for her, 17 points, 6 of 7 from the field, 6 rebounds and 2 steals. The majority of that happening after the first quarter.
Yeah, a very quiet first quarter for her, as that was a bucket there by Wisner. Very quiet first quarter for Gracious. Then she came out and she really took the second quarter by storm. and she never let the foot get off the gas pedal.
Richardson rattles in and out. Both coaches, I guess, would go deeper into their bench. And Annika Richardson, with just 5 minutes left in her career, definitely trying to get the best out of it all.
Yeah, if you're Coach Madsen, this is kind of your time to start playing your seniors, start playing your graduates, letting some people get their final minutes.
Oliver fouled. There's only two that are active. It's Richardson and Alexis Martin, both who've seen their fair share of minutes. Richardson with now 30. Alexis Martin has played 16 minutes.
You know, Martin did not get the start the last time these two teams have played. She gets in the starting rotation every now and then, but, you know, honoring her tonight, letting her play as many minutes as possible.
And also, if you're Coach Madsen, even though your next game isn't until the end of October, potentially early November, you want this to be a building block for next year, especially with Carroll losing Wrangell. That leaves the door open on their end. Illinois Wesleyan loses 4 critical seniors. That changes things from that dynamic. So the CCIW, even though, at least on the Titans' behalf, they're expected to reload, CCIW could look a little different next year, and there could be some open doors for some teams to make new entrances. Martin off the mark. Carroll gets it back.
Right, and fans can't forget that they had to play to get here. I mean, Wheaton beat Elmhurst 70-57. Elmhurst not a joke of a squad this season. And Wheaton, I mean, they have had a lot to hang their hats on this year. And just like you said, this last couple minutes is going to be a building block, but it's also allowing them to kind of look at last week and just relish in a little bit more of the success going into next year.
A Wheaton team that has been frequent flyers. Tie up. Goes Carroll's way.
Jump ball, possession to Carroll.
Wheaton's been frequent flyers in the CCIW tournament across the 2010s. Like I said earlier, since the pandemic, they haven't been back. But Coach Madsen, knowing what he can do, they're always in the mix for playing on the last weekend. A much needed win, barring anything, for the Pioneers, just trying to boost that MPI inch by inch in case they don't cut the nets down tomorrow. And on the flip side, if Carroll is unable to boost that MPI, Pentalber rattles around. If Carroll's still on the outside looking in with a win and then a loss tomorrow, or check that, rather, with 2 wins, then they're a bid thief. So that's something for the rest of the country to take note of, where Team 64 might be going home after this weekend. Given that Illinois Wesleyan, being 5th in the MPI, almost certain, if not certain, to make the tournament.
Julia Loker.
Not very many viable worlds where they're not in the tournament. And, you know, as you said it, Carroll needs to get a victory tomorrow, and they need to keep the pedal to the metal tonight, as they have been, and play strong tomorrow, no matter the results of the game.
Timeout with 3:42 left. Further breaking down the Wesleyan scenarios, if you put up Murphy's Law, which would be a loss tonight to Milliken, and a handful of bid thieves, I'm talking the maximum, you're still, based on the MPI and given how the UAA works, you're still the 4th ranked team in the country. And so for the Titans, their concern is, can they put themselves in a position to not only host next weekend, but host in 2 weeks should they win both games next weekend. That's the mindset for Illinois Wesleyan, and if they are to advance later tonight, they still got to play Milliken. It'll be a rematch of last year's conference championship, which is certainly exciting. With Carroll up by 35, Coach Schultz turning to her reserves. Karen McMahon in the game, the freshman out of Mount Prospect, Illinois, went to Rolling Meadows High School. Casey Kratz also in the game, the Hartford, Wisconsin native. And this game, a much different narrative for the Carroll Pioneers compared to last year's semifinal, where they went down to the wire against Elise Knudsen in the Milliken Big Blue. So the players will be much more rested. However, on the flip side, the key factor that everyone must remember, as Caddo's off the mark, last year with both the men's tournament and the women's tournament taking place at Shirk, the women's semis took place on Thursday with the championship on Saturday. So rest was much less of a factor in that championship game, with both teams getting a day off. This year, that's not the case. It'll be a little more than 24 hours for the Pioneers with a 7 o'clock tip tomorrow, then a little bit less for the winner of our second game between the Titans and the Big Blue. A rare needle thread, and Lauren Ham comes up short. 3-ball, offside.
And I think that's one of the key factors to Wheaton's game is they were second in conference this season in shooting the 3-ball. They were up positive 60% in that first quarter, or the first 12, 13 minutes. Now they're shooting 6 for 23, just over 25% from beyond 3.
Travel called, and the other thing for Wheaton is Wheaton has found their success when they keep opponents around 60. If Carroll keeps going at this rate, they'll definitely be north of 90.
You know, Carroll has had one of the top offenses this season in the CCIW. They're not only 78.4 scoring offense, being number 1 in conference. It's 12th in the Division III. Their field goal percentage at 46.6. 5th in the division. However, you turn that into the defensive side, and they kind of are a little bit lower in conference. 8th opponent field goal percentage, 8th in opponent three-point percentage, 1st in allowing opponents to grab rebounds off them, and that didn't seem to really be a factor today.
Under 2 minutes. Up and through from Kaylee Wozniak.
Sophomore from Greendale, Wisconsin.
Joined the team at the winter break. Blocking foul called on Trumbach. Foul trouble not an issue for either side. Nobody with 4 fouls and less than 2 minutes left in a 37-point game. Stick around for the postgame. We'll be joined by Coach Schultz and a player guest. Pick their brains on how they got it done today and what their plan is over the next 23 hours before they try to cut the nets down for a second straight season.
Wouldn't just be 2 straight, it would also be the program's second time winning the CCIW.
Carroll, you could say, are the newest members of the CCIW as Caddo heads for 2. Rejoining after a long stint in the Midwest Conference in the late 2010s.
Sierra McMahon, that is her first in the team's third. Shooting 2 free throws for the Thunder, Lily Caddo.
Caddo's free throw shot just 56% this season. She played 34 minutes and scored 8 the last time these two schools saw each other. Today, she only played in 24, scoring 4.
Potential lane violation, but at this point, the officials will just play on and go to the second end. It's a thing you still expect from Carroll, to run actions with the reserves. Don't want to be too revealing with Maya Smith and Brian Ayersman, along with Sammy Matouche, Kate Bowman, and Chad Cusack, watching the end of this game. Wozniak with 4 points. Players have gone to the locker room for Illinois Wesleyan, but the one thing that this Titan staff does extremely well is scout opponents, and not only that, scout opponents live.
You know, they've seen Carroll 2 times already this season playing them, but it's a different feature, getting to see how they approach a different group than just yourselves.
And by extension, approaching it live. Jenna Hunter with the long 2, shot clock off. Coach Schultz still running a motion, up 89-54. Trying to get all the momentum on her side for tomorrow's championship game. However, just because they run an action, I'm not sure if they'll take a shot. It doesn't look like they will. And that'll do it for the first semifinal in the CCIW tournament. Carroll, led by 10 at the half, outscored Wheaton 27-14 in the third, and they never look back. And they'll play for some t-shirts and a bid to the big dance tomorrow night.
At 7 p.m. here in the Shirk Center.
Not sure if our mics caught it, Matt, but the men's basketball team was doing a thank you seniors chant for that last 5 seconds, wanting to send off those 2 on the best note possible, those 2 being Alexis Martin as well as Alexis Martin as well as Annika Richardson.
And Richardson wrapping up an illustrious career for the Thunder. A difficult piece for Kent Madsen to replace in 2025-2026. We'll take a brief timeout, be joined by Coach Schultz and a player guest when we come back on IWSports.com.
At NCAA Championships, noise is made here. Memories are made here. Champions win here. The only thing missing here is you. The NCAA Division III Softball Championship coming to Bloomington, Illinois this May. Get your tickets today at ncaa.com/tickets.
When competition for the best jobs is fierce, how do you set yourself apart? Experience? And education? Yes, but not just any education. At Illinois Wesleyan, we prepare graduates who break through the noise, who run the boardroom, the classroom, the lab, the stage. The best college for jobs in Illinois is right in your own backyard. Reach further, dream bigger, and break through at Illinois Wesleyan University.
Post-game, following Carroll's dominant victory over Wheaton, Matt Sasser alongside today's player of the game, Olivia Rangel. And Olivia, just another day at the office for the Pioneers. You putting up an easy 23 through the first 3.5 quarters. Take me through this game, a much-needed bounce back following a gritty ball game less than a week ago at Elmhurst.
Oh yeah, of course. Obviously it's tournament time, and I think last year after our dubs here, we aren't satisfied. We want to go back-to-back. The expectation is to get to that championship game, so here we are, and we're full throttle.
After the bye, how critical was it to get out fast and have a much more relaxing game this time around than last year in the semifinal against Elise Knutson and Milliken?
It was huge. We knew we had to get up big, especially in the first half. Third quarter is huge for us because we struggled in that area, but we came out running in the second half and we put them away. It was exactly what we needed to do.
What was the message at halftime to come out so dominant in the second half?
Just keep our foot on the pedal, keep pushing.
You have a chance tomorrow to claim your second straight CCIW title and also a chance to extend your season against either Illinois Wesleyan or Milliken. What are the next 24 hours going to look like to get ready to cut down the nets tomorrow?
Lots of rest, lots of staying focused, just taking care of our bodies so we can come back and do the same thing tomorrow.
Matt Sasser alongside today's player of the game and most outstanding player in the regular season, Olivia Rangel. Olivia, congrats on the win and catch you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Coach Schultz joins us on the other side on IWSports.com. Back post-game at the Shirk Center, Matt Sosser now joined by head coach Lindsay Schultz, who just booked her spot in her second straight CCIW championship game with a dominant win over Wheaton. Coach, your thoughts on the semifinal win?
You know, I thought this game was really important for us. The last game we played, we were really out of sync defensively. Couldn't get stops. We thought our execution wasn't where it needed to be going into the tournament. So I'm really happy we came out. Our execution was much better. We had much more focus for 40 minutes. And so I think it was that momentum, that we started with in the first half, and then we put a big emphasis on the third quarter because that's kind of been a tough quarter for us all year, and we came out and outscored them 27-14. So I thought we had pretty much good focus and execution throughout 4 quarters.
How important was the rest since last Saturday, an overtime contest? A lot of your key contributors playing 40 minutes or more to get that rest, then also have a much less stressful semifinal this year compared to last.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bye is huge for the CCIW tournament. I mean, it allows us to rest. It allows us to game plan. We can just kind of work on some things we need to, and then start getting prepared, for our first opponent on Wednesday and then into Thursday. So I thought that was big. I felt like our kids had a lot of energy tonight. So obviously the bye paid off.
Night in and night out, you expect big performances from Olivia Rangel, Natalie Grecius, Emily Wisner, but you were able to get Katie Barger going early in her homecoming, and you were also able to get a lot more key contributions. Julia Loker, maybe she'll have to wear number 2 tomorrow, depending on how this went. But how much did it mean to have those players make a mark?
So, first of all, I think Katie Barger is one of those kids for our program that doesn't get as much recognition as she probably deserves. She's absolutely our defensive player, rebounder, has gotten so much better offensively for us. And I thought she really set the tone in the first half, like getting steals and going in transition and kind of providing that spark and that energy we need. Julia, yes, she comes off the bench. She's not afraid. She has really good offensive skills. It's been very important because a lot of teams have doubled Olivia and Natalie Grecius, and so we really have realized that we need to put scores around both those players. And I thought, I think Julia comes in and she has a really good knack for offensive and scoring. And I think the other one that came up huge for us today was Chloe Halverson, because they are doubling typically off Chloe, and she had 10 points, she had 9 rebounds. And Chloe kind of does a little bit of everything for us: defends, handles the ball, rebounds, and then obviously, it's always good for us when Wisner is scoring, because then you kind of have to pick, like, all right, who are you going to double Liv and Natalie Grecius with?
A plus 19 for Halverson as well, doing it on both sides of the court, like you mentioned. Matt Sosser alongside head coach Lindsay Schultz. You got 24 hours until you go for not only your second straight conference championship, but given how things have shaken out nationally, a chance to extend your season another week. What are the next day or so going to look like?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, like, when you're facing teams 3 times, I would hope, just like I felt like we knew Wheaton well, we obviously know Westland well, they know us well, so it really comes down for us to execution. Like, I thought, we've been able to play them tough for maybe a half, or I think it was like 3.5 quarters, the first game, but we haven't been able to execute for the full 40 minutes, so we're going to have to do that. They have a lot of offensive weapons. They have a lot of, their press is tough. A lot of tough kids. They just keep coming at you. So you can't afford to, have energy and execution for 30 minutes. If you want to beat them, you're going to have to bring it every single minute.
Wesleyan's got to get it done first against Milliken coming up right after this. The second semifinal of the CCIW tournament. Matt Sosser alongside head coach Lindsay Schultz, who already has her spot in tomorrow's game. Coach, congrats on the win, and we'll chat tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Wrap up the program right after this on IWSports.com.